Hi, everyone. I'm Erick Messias. I'm a professor of psychiatry at the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences. And in this series, I talk to our mental health experts so that their expertise can help us during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic in April of 2020. So today I have with me Dr. Wakefield, who has been working with couples for many years and is our expert in couples therapy. So thank you for being here today. Tell us what do you think couples are going through during this time?
Couples are going through a lot because they're in close proximity. I say that people are cooped up and stressed out.
Yes.
And that close proximity is actually stirring up a lot of irritability in families. So we have a lot of fussing going on. And one of the things that I'm encouraging people to do is to really try to have an intention on focusing on kindness and thoughtfulness, very much at the front of their awareness. So, the question of how can I support you today, of each other, how can I make today better for you? Things of that sort, where we're just trying to simplify our lives because we're very disrupted with our routines, and everyone is concerned about it. There's an unsettled feeling, which leads to a lot of anxiety. Another thing I'm encouraging people to do is to really have their translation ears on, because when people get anxious, sometimes they begin to pick on each other. And it's really more about that person's internal state and them trying to discharge this anxiety. So the idea of not taking things personally becomes really, really important. Or simply interrupting someone and inviting them to maybe speak in a different way, or to tell them it's really hard for me to be on the receiving end of what you're saying right now. We do not have to resolve big issues in this time. And being in close proximity is, because it's stirring so much up in people, I'm finding that couples are beginning to talk about things that happened 5 years ago that weren't resolved. They're doing it without really effective communication techniques. And so there's some tangles going up. So the other thing that people have to be careful about right now is catastrophic thinking. As in, when this pandemic is over, I'm out of here. Because we're in an unusual time.
Yes. So we have here at UAMS, we have two populations in healthcare in general. One group that is staying home and working from home for the most part, and the other who is, taking care of patients, doing triage, treatment, and diagnosis. How is the stress different for these groups, and what can they do to protect their relationships?
Well, I think that I want to talk to the healthcare workers, and I want to talk about the concerns about contagion. And that's a big stressor for people who are in the healthcare field right now. Just the concerns about bringing home the virus and infecting their families.
Right.
And I know that there are a lot of people that are actually avoiding physical contact. They're really trying to practice social distancing at home. I think it's particularly difficult with little kids. And I just want to tell a story about the long distance hug, which I invented with my son the first time he went off to camp when he was 7 years old. And I said to him, okay, so we're going to be separated and you're going to be going to sleep at night by yourself. But I just want you to know that we can invent something called the long distance hug. So we actually, because we have all of these little files in our heads with memories that can actually download neurochemicals and can cause us to physically remember the experience of something, we can actually stand across the room from a child or even a husband and say, okay, we're going to do a long distance hug, which is what I did with Tama. You stand on one side of the room, I'll stand on the other, and I'm going to hug you from here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, hug. And I said, okay, can you feel it? Can you feel it? And he said, yeah, I can feel it. And I said, okay, now go in the living room. We're going to do an even further away hug. All right, 1, 2, 3, hug. And can you feel it? Can you feel it? Yeah, I can feel it. So the idea that even though people are maybe trying to keep a distance from others, the experience and the memory of these wonderful experiences of having our arms around someone, of being hugged, of being loved, of being responded to, can actually reactivate that memory in our minds, and we can actually have those experiences. It's particularly important with little kids.
Yes, I love that. I think that's great. In couples, how can that help couples?
Well, if they're actually practicing social distancing, they can do the same thing. Uh, I think it's really important that couples talk about one right now, and not to be controversial, but if they want to have erotic conversations at a distance, they could certainly do that and recall what it's like to be in erotic engagement with each other. People do this sometimes when they're traveling, and you can do it even though you're standing 6 feet away or sleeping in a separate bedroom. I think that tender touch is very, very important right now with people. Soothing, tender touch, hugging till relaxed, comforting what I think of as the inner children in us right now who are very, very stirred up.
That's great. I really appreciate that. And your expertise in helping couples through many, many situations will help many more couples during this time, because as you said, all of us are having to deal with a very stressful situation.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Wakefield.
You're welcome.